Chapter 3. Description of motions and all classifications. 5. Basic classifications, order of precedence of motions. Classes of motions. As noted in Chapter 2, the word motion refers to a formal proposal by a member in a meeting that the assembly takes certain action. Before a subject can be considered, it must be placed before the assembly in the form of a motion. From the basic type of motion known as the main motion, as also noted in the preceding chapter, many other specific motions have been derived and have become defined under parliamentary law. For convenience and description, motions may be classified as shown in the following list. As indicated to the right of the list, the motions in the second, third, and fourth classes, subsidiary, privileged, and incidental motions taken together, are also called secondary motions. Note: secondary motions must not be confused with secondary amendments, a much more specialized concept explained in 12:11 through 13. Back to read. 1. Main motions. A. Original main motions. B. Incidental main motions. 2. Subsidiary motions. 3. Privileged motions. 4. Incidental motions, which along with the two preceding are secondary motions. And 5. Motions that bring a question again before the assembly. Secondary motions as an underlying concept. Nature of secondary motions. The concept of secondary motion serves as a starting point for the division of motions into the classes shown. It also throws light on the order of precedence of motions, which, as explained below, is a basic element of the rules under which these motions are used in the transaction of business. Secondary motions may be seen as related to the following fundamental principle of parliamentary law. Only one question can be considered at a time. Once a motion is before the assembly, it must be adopted or rejected by a vote, or the assembly must take action disposing of the question in some other way before any other business, except certain matters called privileged questions, can be introduced. By this principle, a main motion can be made only when no other motion is pending. Thus, however, the need for a number of particular secondary motions arises. A secondary motion is one whose relationship to the main question or whose procedural character or urgency is such that 1. It can be made and considered while a main motion is pending, or occasionally it is applicable just before or after a related main question is pending, without violating the principle of taking up only one question at a time, and 2. When the secondary motion has been made and has been admitted by the chair as in order, that is, as being legitimately able to come before the assembly at the time according to the rules affecting its use, it must be acted upon or disposed of before direct consideration of the main question can be continued. Secondary motions generally are made and seconded and are stated by the chair as a main motion would be, except that certain of them are in order while another member has the floor, and most of the motions in the latter group do not require a second. See pages T44 through T45. When a secondary motion is placed before the assembly, it becomes the immediately pending question. The main motions remain pending while the secondary motion is also pending. A main motion is the immediately pending question whenever it is pending with no secondary motion. Whenever the chair has occasion to inform the assembly as to what is the immediately pending question, however, he does not use this phrase, but employs the parliamentary form, the question is on the motion too. The latter form is used even when more than one motion is pending. Taking precedence by one motion or another. If two motions, A and B, are related under rules of parliamentary procedure in such a way that motion B can be made while motion A is pending, and, when said by the chair, can thus temporarily replace A as the immediately pending question, motion B takes precedence, or, as the note says, precedence, back to reading, over or takes precedence of motion A, and motion A yields to, note the word yield is used in the sense has no connection with yielding the floor, as explained in 3.3. Back to reading, motion B. A secondary motion thus takes precedence over the main motion, and a main motion takes precedence over nothing and yields to all applicable secondary motions. I am aware that I just said it is pronounced precedence. However, I think that this makes it unclear what the word I'm saying is. So, for the remainder of this book, it shall be read as precedence. Certain secondary motions also take precedence over others, so that it is possible for more than one secondary motion to be pending at a time, together with the main motion. In such a case, the motion most recently stated by the chair, among those that have not been voted on, is the immediately pending question. Order of precedence of motions, or rank. The rules under which secondary motions take precedence over one another have been gradually evolved through experience. While these rules are proper to each of the specific motions, they follow patterns that are related to the division of secondary motions into the classes of subsidiary, privileged, and incidental motions. Viewed apart from incidental motions and with modifications under parliamentary conditions explained in 6.7, the main motion, the 7 subsidiary motions, and the 5 privileged motions fall into a definite order of precedence, which gives a particular rank to each of these 13 motions. The main motion, which does not take precedence over anything, ranks lowest. Each of the other 12 motions has its proper position in the order, taking precedence over the motions that rank below it and yielding to those that rank above it. The privileged motions rank above all other motions. The manner in which the order of precedence of motions operates is illustrated in the summaries of subsidiary and privileged motions given in the next section. See also the chart in pages T3 through T5. The incidental motions each have a certain relationship to the order of precedence of motions, but this relationship can be fully discussed only in terms of the rules governing the individual motions. Other factors also affect the condition under which these motions are in order, as described in 615 through 624. When a particular incidental motion is in order, it takes precedence over the main motion to any other motions that may be pending. Incidental motions have no rank among themselves, and none of them can be assigned a position in the order of precedence of motions. The rank of the motions in the fifth classification is at the beginning of this chapter, that is, the motions that bring a question again before the assembly, is discussed in the description of these motions, beginning in 625.